Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for this booming crowd here. So we know most people here. My name is Nicole Crutchfield, the Planning Director of City of Fargo, and we are videotaping this, so we'll kind of still do this as a more formal presentation, even though we can really go into more Q&A and more relaxed discussion. We have about a 5-minute presentation, 10-minute presentation at the most, and but really be open to question and answers. And first I want to introduce our fearless leaders in helping to manage parking downtown. And I'll let them each introduce themselves. Vanessa, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm Vanessa Hernandez and I'm with Interstate Parking.
I'm Melissa Brandt. I'm with the Downtown Street Department. I'm with the City of Fargo Engineering Department.
Fargo Public Works. Matt Esquivel, Fargo Police.
So we have, just for the audience, for the microphone here, since we're on air, we have Interstate Parking, Downtown Community Partnership, City Engineering, City Public Works, and City Police. So I'm going to just start out with a quick introduction on some new things that we have starting out in 2020 here. And first of all, Island Park ramp, we're making some improvements there, and we just wanted to kind of alert everybody that we have a lot of available parking here at Island Park ramp, just off of Main Avenue, and if you enter off of First Avenue South, kind of right behind the YMCA, monthly rate of $59, but we're looking at probably early spring, opening it up for hourly parking there as well. Block 9 ramp just came online. We're excited about that. That's not being managed by the City of Fargo, but we'd be remiss to, without partnership with the City of Fargo, at 207 5th Street North, just off of Broadway. There's 385 parking spaces there, $3 for the first 3 hours. And as those different tenants come online, that number will fluctuate, but Rusty Popacek with the Block 9 group is managing this facility. But as I mentioned, we have many different partners in parking, and each of them are going to speak for a few minutes about some of the changes they have going on in downtown. And so I'll pass it off to Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. So Interstate Parking has been managing the city facilities, the parking facilities, and doing the enforcement, helping out with the enforcement. So one of the questions I get most often is, where can I park for free? So technically anybody can park on city streets. You just need to be aware of the restrictions on that block. On Broadway, you'll see 90-minute time zones, and as you move off of Broadway, you'll start seeing those 2-hour and 4-hour time zones. Another place to park at for free is Roco. The first 2 hours between 8 and 5 p.m. are free. And then all city lots and ramps are free between the hours of 5 and 8 a.m. And there's plenty of parking in those ramps and surface lots as well. That's all I got on that one. So the enforcement overview. What we try to do is educate the public. So the city has decided for our first citation, if it's a time zone citation, it's a welcome citation. You get a nice little pamphlet with parking information and just general information as well. Second citation is going to be a $20 citation. The third citation will be $25. And then that fourth and any more after that is going to be $30. After 6 months, though, if you don't get a ticket, it'll reset itself and we'll start with that welcome ticket again. The overnight parking fee is going to be, the first citation is going to be your warning. Your second citation is going to be a $20. And then anything after that will stay at the $20 citation. Overnight parking is necessary so that Ben Dowen, his awesome crew, can get out there and clean our city streets, whether it be snow removal or the sweeping or any maintenance that needs to be done. So some nights you're able to park on avenues, other nights you can park on streets. So just keep an eye on those signs. Monthly passes. Currently, we have parking, contract parking available in 5 locations: Island Park, NP, 4th Street, Main Avenue, and 7th Street lot. And they're all at different price points. So Island Park is close to Rhombus, guys. It's on the south end of Broadway. NP will be over in between the old Broadway and Renaissance Hall. 4th Street is going to be just south of the GTC, and Main Avenue is the Main Avenue lot. 7th Street will be across the street from the sanctuary.
So we're going to hand it over to Melissa here.
All right, well, good evening. Thank you for coming. So why are we here? We're here to educate the public as well as everyone else that we do have plenty of parking, and educate where you can park and enjoy and experience downtown. So part of that is the DCP heard some rumblings through the businesses as well as customers coming downtown that business was down. So instead of going with the rumblings, we created a survey. We wanted to collect the data and the facts so we could educate ourselves as well as our businesses and work with our partners to figure out solutions on how do we drive traffic downtown. So what we did was we created this survey and we challenged the businesses, and we sent it to over 500 people. And it was a comparison to what their business was this year compared to last year, because as all of us know, there's so many changes that are happening in downtown, so we wanted to measure it. So out of the 500 people that received this survey, whether it was in their inbox or on Facebook, 45 responded. And out of the 45 that completed the survey, 38% fell into retail, 24% fell into the entertainment bucket, and then 21% fell into the food and beverage. Out of that entire survey, the 4 things that came up that was a negative impact on their business was construction, online shopping, parking, and weather. Majority also reported a decrease in organic traffic as well as local repeat customers. And then 15 out of 45 businesses shared their variance in income year after year, and it varied from $4,000 difference to $52,000 difference in decline from over last year's business. From a visitor's perspective, parking-related feedback was captured very heavily in this study. What they had noted was it was difficulty navigating downtown during construction. They were basically hearing that we were a construction zone down here, and that it was hard to navigate, and construction crews were taking up spots, trailers, construction equipment in general. And so the public was feeling, or what we captured for this survey, that it was a construction zone. Also, that the perception that downtown, there again, was lacking parking outside of the business because of either construction partner or vehicles or trailers or dumpsters or whatnot were taking up those spots. And lastly, customers unfamiliar with the parking rules, regulations, and rates. So what is our role? Downtown Community Partnership, we actually work with the businesses as well as survey on what is happening in the environment. We want to make sure that our downtown businesses have traffic, because at the bottom line, our downtown needs to be healthy. So, we're nonprofit, and we continue to educate the public on free and convenient parking options. Parking plays a vital role in overall health of downtown. We also host many events. And so anytime we host an event, we provide guidance on parking and direction, partnering with our partners like Interstate Parking, Matt Bus, Jefferson Bus Line, or the Link FM in terms of how do we communicate to the customer and our visitors on how you can attend our events. And last, promoting the benefits of why supporting the heart of our community is important. Supporting downtown business is not only important for our economy, but we also are recruiting tool for all these businesses who want to either come downtown or recruit for people who want to work here.
Hello, I'm Christy Schmidt with City Engineering. I think I know most of you, and I'm here to talk about some of the construction that we have the City of Fargo going on for our 2020 capital improvement in just the downtown area. We have a project on 7th Avenue that'll entail removal of all the streets and sidewalks and replacement of the water main, and that goes from the west side of Broadway to Elm Street, with the exception of 2nd Street from alley to alley, which we've already reconstructed. Most of our projects start as soon as the frost is out of the ground. That one is scheduled for a completion of September 19th. We have that one phased so that we hope that it starts on the west side and the Broadway intersection gets opened the soonest. The other project we have downtown is over on 3rd Avenue, 11th and 12th Street, from 3rd to 4th Avenue. That one is scheduled to be complete October 3rd. The big one is a continuation of last year's project on Main Avenue from the west side of Broadway through University. The one thing that's going to impact a little bit of the University traffic there is they're doing it's a counterflow on University, so they're going to be putting a median in. I believe all of the sidewalks on the east and west side of University will kind of get reconstructed there, with maintaining traffic at all times southbound. And that one's scheduled to be completed October 16th. I believe I think it's $500,000 of incentive on that to speed that project up a little bit. The other things I wanted to kind of touch on is just some of the private development. Over by the 3rd Avenue project, we have Enclave is doing a development which kind of doesn't impact downtown. It's in the middle of our construction. The Nestor project is on 10th Street and NP. Again, a little less impact to the direct downtown. The Block 9 project will be shutting down Broadway this summer. Their intent is to shut Broadway down right after the marathon until almost the street fair. They're going to be reconstructing part of the street there. Along with the Block 9, there's a portion of 3rd Avenue on the east side of Broadway, and 2nd Street will also be impacted with the Block 9 and the Plaza project. The Kessler project is on 2nd Avenue between Robert Street and Roberts Alley. They do need to close down 2nd Avenue to cut in their utilities. I think that's scheduled for about 3 weeks, and they haven't really given me a time frame. Yeah, one thing that we're doing at the city within the last 2 years, if you want to switch the slide, I kind of have some links to our right-of-way management. And that's my job, is to work with the developers to do, if they're going to be in the right-of-way, it's a right-of-way use agreement. They have to submit a schedule. It kind of keeps them on task. They have to submit traffic control plans so we know that what they're setting up is good. And I'm sure people downtown have seen it. You know, people set stuff out there and leave it forever. So this is kind of our way to control that. The other thing that we've been working on, Melissa touched on it, is the dumpsters. We come up with some new guidelines, and to kind of help Ben too with the snow removal is restrict the time that they can be out there in the winter, like bring it out in the morning and take it away at night so they can do their snow removal, and basically the size of it. The other thing we're doing is if they have a parking lot, we aren't going to let them put their dumpster on the street. On this is the links to some of those things. And I'm going to hand it back over to Nicole.
So that concludes our presentation, so pretty short, but maybe just in passing, Ben might have a few comments he wants to share. This fall, we changed our operations and a little bit, and Ben can talk about that.
Thanks, Nicole. Thank you for everybody being here. One of the challenging aspects that we deal with often is winter in North Dakota, and the last 2 winters have been extreme. We've been using the last basically 5 years to kind of make little changes and how we can be better in our snow removal process as we move through the downtown. You saw last year we made big changes, brought a lot more support in, a lot more trucks to help us. This year, in October, we went with Interstate Business and helped with the enforcement, so we're enforcing seven nights a week. And then in the last snowstorm, we implemented our impounding, where we're going to come downtown. We'll get a lot of notice out. We'll work with the downtown business partnership and interstate parking, and then our police department to put that into place where we want to come down, do it once, try and get it done in 2 nights and get out. And you know, it worked well. We were able to do it in 2 nights. The first storm was during our New Year's Eve events downtown, so impounding was a little different, but that's our change for this year, is we will be impounding right away instead of waiting and trying to clean up around cars. We want to get in and get out. I appreciate the downtown businesses and everybody down there being patient as we have gone through these growing pains, and we're getting better, and we will continue to get better and make changes. So I'll leave it at that.
So yeah, I'd like to also thank our liaison commissioner, Commissioner Dave Pepcorn, here in the audience, and so at this time, we'd just like to thank you for being an engaged audience, and we'd like to open it up for Q&A, and we'll probably see if you have any formal questions while the folks are sitting up here, and then at that point, then if we conclude there, then we'll just be around for a little bit for more milling around and asking people on a more individual basis if you'd like to do some Q&A. So maybe any Q&A questions that you would like publicly shared here. Oh, we got a mic right over here.
So it's not so much Q&A, but I'm Laura. I'm with the Downtown Community Partnership, and I just wanted to touch a little bit more about our wonderful ramps that we have in downtown Fargo. A fact that I just found out the other day while putting together a guide to our downtown Fargo parking ramps is in our 4 existing ramps downtown, we have over 1,400 spaces. And with the Mercantile building going up in 2020, the Mercantile ramp, that'll add another 370 spaces. So when people are saying that there's no place to park in downtown Fargo, there's going to be almost 2,000 places to park within a minute's walk of Broadway. So if you are on the south side of Broadway, if you're on the north side of Broadway, if you're on center of Broadway, utilize those ramps. They are free after 5 o'clock for Roberts Commons, Civic, and Island Park, and free after 6 o'clock at the Block 9 ramp. And all of them but Roco have open sides and are very safe and easy to use. Roco is very well foot trafficked, so you're never going to be alone in that ramp. There's always people on it. The new Block 9 ramp has motion-activated lights, so you'll never not feel safe in that ramp because you'll know when other people are in it when you see those lights go on. So when people complain about not being able to find a space near where they're going, utilize those ramps, because I did data pulling yesterday, and any business that you want to go to in downtown Fargo, you'll never have to walk more than 4 minutes if you park in one of those ramps. So I really, really want to encourage people to utilize those ramps because they're free on nights and weekends and just such a huge asset to our downtown businesses who need that organic traffic for that night and weekend business. So please, people of Fargo, use the ramps.
Thank you, Laura. And also maybe just a plug for DCP just published a new guide, parking guide. There's copies of it in the back. It'll be available on both the city's website and the parking's website and the DCP's website. But yeah, it's really nice just guide, especially if you're new to the community and want to know where to park, or if you might have relatives visiting where they might have easy access to parking as well. So thank you, Laura. Any other questions?
I have a bunch of questions, but a lot of them are easy and I'll ask afterwards. But I actually thought the heart of this meeting was going to be about the new parking restrictions we've been talking about, or that have been being talked about this year, that I think there's some city legislative action for next year about, and I know very little about it other than I keep hearing this thing about no parking on any streets if we declare an emergency after 4 inches. And I guess I thought that's what this meeting was probably going to be about. And I'm curious about it. I haven't heard enough to know what it really means.
Thanks for the question. That's kind of centered around what some of the work I'm doing. That does not affect the downtown. The downtown has its restrictions in place. Street Avenue, that's going to remain the same. That is everything outside the downtown business district.
And by the way, Ben, I really appreciate it. I think and it doesn't sound positive, but I think it was positive, the fact that you towed cars. We've had this discussion for many years, and I know the difficulty of what you do picking up and moving that snow, and that's what makes it work. And so I'm glad you did it, and I think it'll be easier the next time because people learn. And so I think that was a really good move, and I think it makes your work easier and my job easier. So.
Yep, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Greg, do you have other questions or?
I have questions concerning now Main Avenue. Will it be completely closed? There'll be no through traffic on Main Avenue? That's correct. And the one I hadn't heard was Broadway closing in front of Block 9. Will that be completely closed?
That'll be completely closed
So it'll be just that one block?
between Second and Third Avenue. The one thing I did omit, and it won't have any vehicle traffic emissions, but the Mercantile on the northeast corner of Fourth and Broadway, they're asking to close it, kind of similar to what they did in front of the Block 9, close the actual sidewalk and put the pedestrians in the street, in the parking, and turn the diagonal to parallel. Because when they put their precast stuff, it's just too unsafe for.
But they'll still have through traffic?
Yep.
Can we work so that Broadway on 7th Avenue isn't closed the same time Broadway on 2nd and 3rd Avenue is closed?
So 7th Avenue and Broadway will be the start of, as soon as the frost is out of the ground, and it's my understanding from Block 9 is the only way to get their amount of work done is going to be between the marathon and the street fair. So I would suspect that
July?
they'll both be closed at the same time.
Okay.
There is a chance that that Broadway intersection will get done fairly quick. If we have the frost out of the ground early, sometimes we can start the middle of April. But go away snow.
Yeah, this year might be a tricky April, but so when you close Broadway in front of Block 9, you'll have 2nd Avenue closed too, so you won't be able to detour that way. So will you be routing people right away on Broadway to Roberts or something?
We're discussing, because they're supposed to get me schedules on all of those, because we said we can't let you close down the whole downtown. You have to be able to get around. So
Yeah.
they recently asked if they could close down the east leg of 2nd Avenue by the old Metro Drug at the same time to help expedite their work, but we haven't quite worked through that yet. It's either that or drag it out all summer, because they have the west leg of 2nd Avenue between Broadway and Roberts, and then the east leg of 2nd. So there's 3 things in a very small area of work they need to do.
They look to have it open again by street fair and be able to utilize it for street fair?
Either that or it'll have to go after the street fair. We've done as much as we can to keep everything open for the street fair.
Okay, thank you.
Tim Flacco. My question is, are any communities or parking entities doing any electronic analysis so that they literally can have outside the building how many open spots there are, so that if you drive past a place, you know, because a lot of people, like I'm from rural North Dakota, and if I can't see it, I don't know that it exists. So, a lot of people maybe just drive by thinking, well, that's reserved for the bank, or that's reserved for whoever. But is there any technology available? And I'm not a ramp guy. If I can drive around twice, I usually find a spot. So, but is there something like that people do to show them that, hey, 235 out of 400 spots are open or whatever?
I believe that technology does exist. Paul is shaking his head, and Vanessa. And maybe if you want to pass the mic to Paul, he can share a little bit more.
Hi, guys. I'm Paul Schnettler. I'm one of the owners of Interstate Parking. Yeah, the technology you talked about does exist in the city. It wouldn't be an all-encompassing program because not everybody would want to participate in it. But the city in their garages has installed the correct equipment that it would be an easy retrofit to tie that equipment into a centralized notification system. It's a few $100,000 to wire it throughout the whole city and things like that, but it does exist. It's used a lot at airports and bigger municipalities, but it doesn't encompass the whole program. It's only the city-owned facility, so it's something on the table for the commission to consider. Okay, yeah, well, thank you, Jim. In relation to, right now, each garage the city owns does have a full sign on it. So as you're driving by, if the number's dictated, a sign will automatically pop up that say full.
And I've seen those. I just thought if there's something that can, the gate goes up, the gate goes down, that's one, in and out type, pretty simple, not anything too sophisticated. Because we have people that I work with that think, like even in our lot, that there should be some kind of technology that says which of the 30 or 24 spots are open. So when they drive up in the morning, they know what's open. Well, that can change in 3 minutes.
Any other questions? If not, we're here for some more Q&A and just more casual conversations. We do rely on your feedback to let us know how we're doing. In answer to Greg's question, we are open to critique as well. So we feel free to Q&A and critique as the program evolves, because it requires all our partnerships, and we have to know how you like things or not like things. So, yeah.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about the right-of-way program.
What specifically are you, like, just it's a right-of-way use agreement, and we associate that with the development of private property. And that's not just downtown, that's any place, the Newman Center or the Prairie St. John's. If they need to use our right-of-way, we're gonna work into an agreement. They have to provide us with their insurance indemnifying the city, so in case somebody gets hurt, they have to give us a schedule, they have to give us the traffic control, and not just give us a schedule, because we've had them, well, we just want to close the road for 3 months, so it's what do you need to complete your project, and how do we keep because we're looking out for the business and the public interest and safety. So they're looking at it, getting their building done. We're trying to, what do you need from us to use that right away, and how can you make it safe for the pedestrians and the vehicles and keep the businesses going? So it's a pretty comprehensive agreement. And sometimes they don't like us pushing back so much, but the other part that Kevin Gorder's here now, he's in the, he's my supervisor, and we're working on right-of-way use fee, where you have to pay to use our road, our sidewalk, and impact the public. So, Commissioner, expect that coming someday. We'll see how it goes, but that, a lot of cities do that. So it kind of puts a little incentive on the development to, don't use our space so much, don't impact the businesses and the public. We're working on it.
So that would have the dates from when to when it'd be closed then?
Okay, well, that was, because right away is sidewalk, right?
Yep.
And they closed
Exactly.
that sidewalk for a year and didn't do a damn thing, so it was a nuisance. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so last summer took us, I wouldn't say took us by surprise, but last summer, obviously, as projects become more complex and construction can't happen on site and needs the right of way for that access. So with many projects happening at the same time, we're blessed with a good economy. It's also recognizing the impact it has to everybody and getting more specific on those rules. So yeah, it's in response to last summer.
Can I ask a question to Melissa about the survey that you did? Were the retailer, is it the construction thing was the main thing that impact? Because I mean, that's a concern for us as a city. We want them to be growing, not having challenges. However, I will say, you know, obviously Block 9, these are going to be great things, and it is growing pains, but are there things that we should be doing, I guess, from the DCP's perspective as a city to mitigate this?
I think, you know, for the right of way, we partnered with them to do the survey to collect and then share. And it's all about the collaboration. I mean, working with our businesses and being the voice and helping and partnering with the city in terms of what they're experiencing, what they need. I think that's where we see the opportunity. It's like we need to communicate what's going on, construction schedule, the impact, the timing, and hold them accountable. And then work with those businesses and educate them on, oh, your sidewalk's going to be closed, or this road's going to be closed, because then they can pivot and adjust their business and payroll and all those things. So I think communication is key.
And I guess my open question is, I think like for Tim talking about, some people just haven't used parking ramps a lot in our area. And is there some ideas, how can we promote people to at least give it a try? That's my thing. Is there a way like to convert Tim into not being afraid to drive around the block to drive into the ramp? Is there some idea that we could do to get people to at least try it? Because so the Roco ramp, we use that a lot when we go downtown. It's great, but you have to know which door to walk out to get to where you're going to, and things like that. I guess that's my question.
Well, I think Laura touched on it. You know, she works with the DCP, like she mentioned, and just getting that information, that easy takeaway information that's simple, clear, and we're all consistent with the same message. I think there's a lot of marketing opportunities out there. So anytime we get in front of the media or on radio or even working with our businesses, just educating people that, yeah, there is a ramp behind this beautiful Roco, and it's, you know, it's an infill project with businesses and it's there. But just educating people on where to go, and it's affordable and it's free most of the time. So I think it's just the more and more of us that talk about that, and it's okay to walk a block. We're worth the walk. We're worth the wait. I think it's going to help all of us. Do you want to speak to anything on parking?
All right, well, we'll be around for a little bit longer, so feel free. Thank you, everybody, for coming.